Welcome to Wednesday Web Chat. This is Carl Lewis, your host from Vision 33. And today we're going to be talking about year-end financial processes.
The next thing we'll talk about is the due dates for the posting periods. And this is probably something that you are already aware of. When you go in to set up your posting periods, right? And we're going to take a look at this year. I believe that this year is in here. Okay, so when you go and you look at your posting periods, right, as you know, there's the three dates: the posting date, the due date, and the document date. So the problem you probably have already run into if you didn't adjust this would be, I'm going to put a document in today and it's the 8th of December and my terms are net 30. So that document is going to be due in January of 2022. Well, that's a problem because my posting period, the due date only goes through 12/31/21. So I won't be able to put that document in the system unless I change the due date. So what I've seen in the past is that if somebody is trying to put a transaction in the system and they can't get it to work, they're going to just find another way to get it work. So again, as we said in this case, what might happen is somebody is going to put the document in, date it today, it's net 30, but since they can't complete the transaction because the due dates aren't extended out, they're just going to fudge the date. They're going to put 12/31 so they can get in the system and they can move to their next task. So again, make sure we don't do that. So you would want to come in here if you haven't already done this and extend the due date. And that due date depends on your payment terms, right? Your vendor or your customer terms. If I've got terms that go out 60 days, then I want my due date to go out 60 days as well. So I'm just going to put 2/28/22. I don't know if it's a leap year next year. I should check that, right? But you see, once I've done that and I hit update, this is for December, right? So now anything that's got a posting date of December, right, or a document date, it depends on how your due date is calculated, right? I can now create a document that's going to go with a due date into February of 22. So that's the number and one thing we want to keep in mind. Okay, the next thing is we have to create new posting periods. Okay, this is very important. If you haven't already done it, it's very important to do and make sure you get it done on a timely basis. And the reason is if you, or let's not say you, let's say somebody, I've seen this happen as well. Fortunately, the things that I talk about that you don't want to do, I haven't seen a lot of these examples. However, I did see one company that did not set up new posting periods at the end of the year. When it came to January, they continued posting in the December posting period for the prior year. Then when they went to close everything out, close their books, do the period end closing, they had a big problem because their January transactions were in the, for year one or for year two, let's say, were in the December posting period for year one. So that created a lot of problems. When they went to close the December books, there were January transactions in there, right? And the posting, the period end close, it created tremendous problem for them. So it's important to make sure the posting periods are put in the system ahead of time. So I'm going to do that, and I'm sure that you know, right, is I'm going to hit new period, right? And what we normally do, you can look at the period codes over here, right, is I'll put in 2022 for the period code and 2022 for the period name, right? Most people are 12 months, right? So it'll say 12 periods. And now we're set to go, and this will automatically create those posting periods. So when I hit add here, you see now that I have through 12/22. Now, if you want, when you're doing this, and if you're still in 9.3, you have to do this manually. If your payment terms, like we said, went out 60 days, right? So you might want to go in even as early as, let's say, let's go into October, right? And I'm going to add a month because I'm going to think, okay, let's say I have a little more than 60 days, 75 days, right? Whatever that exact date's going to come out to, I'm going to go to the due date and I'm going to extend that another month. So I'm going to put 1/31/23. I'm going to do it now so I don't have to remember to do it at the end of the year. And then I'm going to go to the next one, which would be November. And I'm going to put that one out till the end of February, 28/23. And then last but not least, I will come here to December, right? And I'll do this manually to make sure that January, February, March, 31, 23. Hopefully I got all my numbers right. Right. So now by doing that, when I set up my new posting periods at the beginning of the year, it's one less thing I need to remember at the end of the year. Now, if you're in version 10, right, and I don't have it open, but if you're in version 10, there's a new feature that has a little, box here that allows you to actually set the due date, right? It's called a due date to option, and you put, I can't apologize. I can't remember. I think it's the date, or if it's the number of days, you put something in there, and it automatically extends the due dates for all the posting periods, so that you don't have to do that manually. In any case, it's something that you generally are going to need to do to make sure that the due dates are correct in the transactions that are getting put into the system. Okay, so another thing, again, these are things that may or may not be relevant, but it's something to be aware of that's out there. So if you're using advanced GL account determinations, okay, and many of you may not, right? So I set one up here as an example, right? So these go by the period, right? By the year. So you see this is here for 2021. If I go back to 2020, right, there was nothing there because I just set it up for this demonstration. So you want to make sure that anything that was in here, right, carried to the next year. So 2021 was in there. When I created my financial periods, my posting periods for 2022, this was in the system and it carried forward to 2022. If I created my posting periods, let's say I did it in October, and I added or changed some of my advanced GL account determination rules, they're not going to get updated retroactively. So you might want to just have a note at the end of the year right before you start making January transactions, again, just a fail safe to make sure something, that nothing happened that you're not aware of. You just go in and make sure that what you have in the old system in the prior year and what you have in the new year match. It's easier to do that than it is obviously to go back and to fix transactions if something got overlooked.